afternoon, good morning, good evening, folks. Opinion. This man always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bible Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, it's about the start of the weekend. We just gotta get through Thursday, hit Friday, boom, it's the weekend. Folks, I hope you're enjoying your day this week, and I hope everything's going all right with you. So, as you know, I'm always interested in my story, how they started this sport of bodybuilding. And this lady, she has been competing for quite some time now. I follow a couple of friends of hers that have been guests on my channel, the lovely Abby and also Ashley, who turned pro at the Universe. That's where she last competed, at the Universe in was it New Jersey, which is promoted by Steve Weinberger and also his lovely ex-wife, the lovely Miss Bev Francis. So we welcome here the lovely Mrs. Melissa Freeman, and we thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Welcome. So, ma'am, I've actually asked all you ladies, what got you started in sports? I call it muscle and masculinity. Please share.
So actually, my dad was a personal trainer for a time at a YMCA in Texas. And so just because of him kind of dabbling in that profession, this was back in the day when we actually had magazines. And so it was like, I don't know, I remember looking at some kind of muscle fitness and oxygen and, those different magazines that used to be in publication. And I would flip through the back of them, and that's where all the competition pages were. And I just remember thinking, like, this is so cool. I'm going to do this someday. And then I met my husband while I was in high school. I've known him since I was 17 years old. So went to college, got married, had kids, and life just kind of took a, different direction. And then after I had my daughter, I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. So I actually started competing in bikini, and just kind of felt like that wasn't my fit. I was very, very, very skinny. My elbow used to be bigger than my bicep. And I just wanted to put on more muscle. I liked the look of figure. This was before wellness came into play. So I hopped into figure, and I'm very, very comfortable there. I'm very comfortable with the muscularity size, and then the posing and just the whole package of figure. I really like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think everybody find a division that works for them. Like you start out in bikini, and
Yeah.
then you wanted to go up to a division that mostly fit your aesthetic for muscle.
Yeah.
I know quite a few ladies who started out, like back in the day when bodybuilding for women started out, there was only women's bodybuilding. Then
Yeah.
you had divisions like fitness and figure came along. Bikini, it was more brought into the sport and getting involved like the others. Like you look at physique, it's kind of like an evolution of women's bodybuilding. You have
Yeah.
wellness that's brought in. You know, I think each competitor looks for the division that works with their aesthetics and also their physique overall.
Yeah. Yeah. That definitely makes it a lot easier. Even with the new fit model division, I just kicked off. I'm on week 2 of a new boot camp at my gym right now. And through that, I've had 2 different women come up to me, and they're like, I want to compete. I want to try fit model. And I think it's just a really good division, for a lot of these women that may have been, have a history of watching bodybuilding, and just kind of, middle age. That's my niche of client. And they just, they have a lot of things going, career wise, family wise, marriage wise. And so that fit model, I think, is very attractive to a lot of women, getting, entering into the sport and at that phase of their life. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Well, I have a personal stance on fit model. Excuse me. I think it's a basic division. I have quite a few ladies told me that. I get why they're doing it because they want to bring more attention in. But here's why I'm seeing it like from this point. It's going to hurt divisions like women's bodybuilding and also physique because it might push them out. Just saw that
Maybe.
you're a pro. It's not gonna. Maybe it's not a thing. It's possible. I'm just gonna say I'm a bit of a pessimist. Yet also I'm a realist, and and I have nothing against the competitors in that division. Nothing against
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
interviewed a couple ladies at Fit Model. One lady I know who I met her when I was in Tampa a while back. She's got a pro card this past November. But again, it's like any other division, it's going to evolve. If
Exactly.
you
Yep.
throw back to bikini, those women are going to be just about like these women now in the next few years.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
100%. I completely agree with you. It's going to evolve. I don't know. Like I think I like it, just like it's not my division or anything. But just in the world of bodybuilding in general, I think it's been very male dominated, and it still is. And which, is fine. It's logical, right?
Mhm.
But I think, just to have like a general division, to have more divisions, I don't think that that's a bad thing, especially in this day and age where you have so much social media attention. There really is a spot for everybody. And it's not that one's, superior or better or, than another one. I think it's just kind of like in general in life with anything is it gives people a home, it gives people a space, it gives people, because some people just don't have the genetics for women's bodybuilding or physique or wellness even. You have to have that dominant lower half. And I mean, you can do squats all day long, and some people just aren't gonna, develop where they need to develop to be competitive in that specific division. And then other women, they're that Kim K and they got it. So I mean, there's always pros and cons with everything. But like I said, I think in this day and age, I think with social media and everybody's kind of looking for a home and a spot and a space. Um, I mean, I know they've kind of started paring back some of the women's bodybuilding shows I saw in 2025, which was a little bit disappointing. I think even in the Arnold, like they don't have even figure at this point. So, I mean, it's definitely, going through a transition. And unfortunately, I think it's also one of those things where it's always follow the money. Where are they seeing the most people, like the most registrations? So I don't know. I don't have any answers or solutions. I just hope they keep all of the divisions and keep, options and opportunities open for everybody.
Yeah, because it's fair. Because you know what? Think about it. Again, not every woman's going to be a fit model type. Not every woman's going to be
No.
figure type. Some women, after a while, evolve and grow.
Yeah.
Like, and you need a place to go. I've talked to some ladies. I'm looking at women in physique that can go to women's bodybuilding, but
Yeah.
when there's so few opportunities, like New York Pro's not going to have women's bodybuilding this year. There were
Okay.
some shows that dropped it from there.
Yeah.
Actually, one show I think about I was always supporting was the Vancouver Pro Island. They're not going to even have any of the pro divisions for women, and that was
Okay.
physique, women's bodybuilding, and wellness. And yeah, I understand that everybody wants to go where they can feel like they have more opportunities. Like sponsorships a lot easier, especially when it comes to the men. And I say it's
Mm.
about the men. The guys are, if you know anything about the pimping game, the guys are the bottom bitch of the sport because they get more attention, they get more money. You can see guys like Derek Lumford. He did both the Olympia and the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic. Guy
Yeah.
walks away with pretty much over $1 million. But
Right. Right.
one of my favorite person who deserves a lot more, and this lady that you also know, she is this is I think a lady you hang out with quite often, and that is the lovely Miss. Oh, wait, she's wait a minute, wait a minute. You had her
That's
in. Yeah, wait a minute. I thought I had her here somewhere. Wait
yes.
a minute.
Yes.
Yes, Miss Andrea Shaw.
Yes.
I love her.
I do too.
I because I know you, Abby, and Ashley. Y'all know her very well.
Yeah.
I just think she's so lovely. I know I act like a dweeb when I talk about her because I think she's so amazing. Because it goes back to the fact is that opportunity for any competitor to find a place they can fit in best as they evolve. Like when your first competition, what was that like for you? Especially coming from an athletic background, your history of your father. What was that like for you the first time on stage?
When I was in bikini.
Either one of them, bikini and we all switched to figure.
Okay. I mean, I guess I just really remember like the first time I was on stage in bikini because it was like I was so scared. And I was just like, what are you doing? You're going to go out on a stage in a bikini. And I'm like, just, I almost didn't even want to do it. But I'd worked so hard and, just was like, you're going out there and you're going to do this. And I actually came in second. And I didn't do too bad. Relative to who was up there. It was a smaller show, like maybe 6 girls or something in my division. But I just remember my coach, Peggy Sue Barber, she was just like, you made top 5, and she was just ecstatic. And I remember her taking me, we went to eat somewhere, and she was like telling me what I was allowed to eat. And this is the first time I'm going through all of this, this process. And I really had no idea what I was doing or, anything. So I'm just listening to her like, okay, whatever. And it was definitely very eye-opening. And I think a lot of times people have like I had an idea of what bodybuilding was and what it was to compete. But then when I actually did it, it was just like a completely different experience than what I thought it was going to be, in a good way, not necessarily in a bad way. But it's just, it's a lifestyle. And there's just a lot of dynamic components to it. Especially I think it gets easier the longer that you're in it. I've known a lot of people that just compete one time and they're overwhelmed and they're just like, I will never do that ever again. So, I mean, it's just, there's a lot of moving pieces all the time with it. And like you said, you evolve and you change and you grow. And maybe, I started out in bikini, switched over to figure. So you just kind of, find your spot. It's a journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this for our conversation with you ladies. It's a journey for y'all. It's not like, as one lady put it to me like this, George. It's not a race. It's a marathon.
Oh, absolutely, I agree with that. Yeah.
Because you really want the time to grow and develop. You don't want to rush it. I see some competitors who are young competitors who want anything quick, fast, in a hurry.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is you can get burned out easily if you do it that way. So, folks, while we get Melissa here, we're gonna do this. We're gonna jump into social media for a bit. If you want to follow her, the links are in this in the live of the description. But guys, and I tell you this, guys, is because Melissa, a lot of guys who watch my stuff, they love you, buff, beautiful women. They love you, get you excited, and you're a pretty lady too, Melissa. But guys, she has kids. She got a husband. No weird stuff. I don't want to hear nobody.
Although I did get something very odd the other day.
What?
So I was invited to be on the news for my gym, and so I walk into the gym on Monday, grab the mail, and I have a fan in prison. So I've been telling everybody, I'm like, I got my first fan mail. And so then they, want to know more about it. And they're just like, so they're reading it. It's like 3 pages long. He's sitting there telling me about like how his day and like how he works out every single day and his bicep routine and all these things. And so I actually shared it with Ashley, and her response was hilarious. She goes, I'm just jealous of him. He gets to plan his whole day around his workouts.
He's probably saying like he's like the guy saying, I want to tell you something before, Melissa. I like you and I want you. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. The choice is yours. This is wild. I can't wait. I can't wait. So folks, we're gonna jump in here too. If you want to check her out, be respectful. Reach out in genuine interest, guys, and support these ladies. Because like I said again, this is a tough sport, and a lot of ladies deserve respect. So here we are, and we're going to in her social media for a bit. And this is from the this is from the universe. And wow, you look pretty good. I mean,
Thanks.
what was the critique from the judges? I mean,
they wanted my suit straps higher on my hips. And then I think more V taper, so a little bit wider back. And I think posing just needs to be more natural. Other than that, everything was pretty good.
Yeah, you look pretty good. I mean, like I said again, I'm just going by what I see from here. Again, yeah, they want you to be more fuller in your shoulders, more
Yep.
width. The back is very important, especially when you look into figure division, because that's the thing that really separates you from the other divisions compared to like physique or bodybuilding. But it
Yep.
can make or break how you do what it shows. And this is also from the universe. This was
Yeah.
from
This was
last
last
year.
year. So 2024.
Hmm. Can you believe it's almost 2 years ago?
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah. What was that? What was that feeling for you being up there, especially probably so close to possibly getting your pro card?
Yeah, I'm always like 2 spots away. Um, so I mean, and those are always deep classes. Mine, for whatever reason, my height, being 5'3", I'm always in figures open C. And it's just always a stacked class. Like, I mean, there's always like 17 girls up there. And they'll have to bring us out in rounds. Um, so I mean, it's just a very highly competitive division and spot. And I don't, the longer that I do it, the more confidence that I have in it, and the more comfortable I'm getting. So it's just when you walk on stage, all those lights just blind you to where you really can't, like, it almost feels like you just black out because you just can't see anything at all. So it's a lot of adrenaline, and you kind of have this high where it's like, I made it, I did it. Because like that 6 weeks leading up to show, you're just so carb deprived, your brain's not working, you're just hungry as heck. And but you just keep going every single day, and it's just like, okay, I'm gonna, I got 21 days, I have 20 days as you're on this countdown. And when you finally get up there, it's just this huge feeling of achievement that I did it, I accomplished it. um, and knowing that I came in better than I did the time before, I think that that's always very important too. um, this I kind of changed up so I don't know if you know who Shelby Starnes is.
Most definitely know Miss Stones is. I interviewed
Yeah.
quite a few of his clients.
Yep. So I was with him for about 7 years, and he's the one that put all the size on me. So like I said, I was very, very thin when I very first competed in bikini. And then as I, year after year after year, just kept putting on more size, more size, more size, more size. I kind of got to where, I'm circling the runway. I'm pretty much where I need to be. And I just kind of felt like doing everything online with him, I needed some in-person, harder training that was very intentional, I guess would be a good word for it. So I actually train with Andrea sometimes. When I can nail her down, she travels like crazy. So she's really hard to get to, um, you know, hang out with. But so I train with her, and then I train with John Simmons, her old coach. And they've definitely, between the two of them this past year, I really brought my waist in a lot. Um, and I just sharpened up a lot. So I really, really like the training style. It's intense, um, but it's working. So
Hmm. Yeah. Now, who's this young lady with you?
that's my daughter, Claire. She's 13.
Uh, she's just as pretty as her mama.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, it's a compliment, ma'am. And she, you have how many kids you have altogether?
We have four.
Huh. Have they ever experienced interest in training or competing?
Um,
Following mom footsteps?
Actually, so my daughter, Claire, she's been working with Stephanie Jones. I don't know if you know her.
Yeah, I interviewed Stephanie. She's a fitness Olympian.
Yep.
Shout out to Stephanie. Yeah, she's also
So
from your
she's
area.
worked with her probably about 3 times now, 4 times. And Stephanie choreographed a routine for her to Tina Turner, Proud Mary. And she's going to do an entertainment piece um, at John Simmons' show May 16th. So NPC, I don't know if you knew this. I didn't know this. John and I were talking about it, and we were just like, let's. I said I want to register Claire for the teen division. She's a competitive gymnast, and she had been in dance since she was 2 years old, and she probably about 2 years ago switched out of dance and just exclusively does competitive gymnastics. And so I was like, I'm going to register for her for the teen division, and she's going to do a fitness routine. Well, we start looking it up, and they raised the age to 18 for the teen division. So I was like, well, we already had kind of started, with the choreography and whatnot. So I was just like, well, we'll just, have her do like it'll be an entertainment piece, but like give her a chance to try it out on the stage, and just see how she does. So she said she was missing being in dance recitals. And so I was like, well, this is the next best thing. So showed her, what is it? Missy, how do you say her last?
Trescott.
Yeah.
Trescott. Mr. Trescott.
Showed her that routine that she did with the sword, that warrior one that she injured herself. Did you watch that?
I didn't watch that Olympia that year, but I did see
I
somebody
was
say
there.
you were there.
I was there. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, because I remember I saw somebody was it, I think somebody sent me a clip to it. I said, George, I said, what is it? Missy Trescott. I said, what happened to her? She was broke. I said, what happened? They sent me the clip. I said, ooh. I said,
Yeah,
oh.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, she came back the next year and she won
she
her
did.
third title. I mean, you got to give it up.
Yeah.
We got to hear some people here in the comment section. Shout out to our man Rolando G. He says, hey there, George. Good afternoon. It's great to see Melissa Freeman. You look fantastic. I'm a new fan. Well, there you go.
Excellent. Now I have two fans.
Also, he says, yes, it sounds like the organization in the sport is hating on the development of women, trying to be sculptured. I appreciate women competitors. They can't ban these divisions. That's true.
Yeah.
Also, he says this. He says, Miss Freeman, I would never do that to you. Yeah. And
Oh,
also, he says this. He says, Melissa, you look fantastic. Wow, very beautiful, sincerely, and you have a beautiful family. I
thank
appreciate
you.
that, brother. Like I say, hey, Melissa, hey, when I get a new girl on here, these guys be like, you ever saw the episode of Chappelle Show when Charlie Murphy and Eddie meets Prince, and Prince and they has this guy named Nikki Free with him. And they think Nikki Free was a dude, but it was a woman, but it's actually a dude. But they say, Shalimar got a new girl. She's fine as a motherfucker. So anytime I get a girl on here, they would say, Joy got a new girl. She's fine as a motherfucker.
That's all right. That's all right. I'll take it. I'm 44, so hey.
That's not too bad. Like I said, there's a lot of ladies who's coming to sport later in life. I've interviewed ladies from oldest. I know one lady, her name is Miss Rebecca. She turned pro when she was 72 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's an
yeah.
accomplishment.
Yeah, he made her pro debut 73. She was competing for almost 30 years. I got a friend of mine, Eunice. Eunice is the one I always want to shout out because Eunice did this for me. Eunice runs her own company in Bad Rap. And that same year you were there at the Olympia was the same year when she got this for me. And that was when it was like a little bit right after my birthday. And she said she emailed this to me. And this is
That is
where,
awesome.
and what makes this where I know I got somebody who knows her. You can verify this.
Yep, that's her. That's her signature.
Yeah. So you guys out there hate say, George, he probably, hey, nah, that was real. That's for me. That's for me. For me. I appreciate that. I appreciate the support from the champ. I think she's a lovely lady. And it's women like her that really give new life to bodybuilding overall, especially for women.
Yeah, absolutely. She's just an icon. Um, she's such a proponent and advocate for the sport in general. Um, you know, I she's she's awesome. She's so kind. Her mom is hilarious. I went down to, I think it was last year. I can't remember. Because I was with them all a couple times. I think it was last year at the women's posing seminar that they did in Orlando. And Sid Gillen, do you know her?
Yes, I do say most definitely.
Yep. And her mom and then Andrea and her mom and me were all in a car riding around in Orlando. And Sid's just crazy. It was just pure, just my stomach hurt from laughing so hard. They were just crazy, hilarious, funny. Their moms are hilarious. Um, I remember we were leaving one of the hotels, and they had like all these like ballast things, like, blocking off the ramp thing. And Sid's like, we're just jumping over them. And so you have all of us like trying to squeeze through, jump over these ballasts to get into a car because we didn't want to walk all the way around. And just wild, funny, crazy, awesome, awesome ladies.
Yeah, that's great. That's great to hear. That it's good to have friendships and bonds with these women in this sport.
Yeah.
Connections is very important, especially you are sharing the stage together and you're competing, and and it's a lot, especially for women. There's a lot of stress to the sport. We get here comments. My man, shout out to my man, the Art of Female Muscle podcast, aka my man Jeremy says, you should take that picture of Andrea and frame it, George.
Absolutely. It's got,
I
I see a spot on your wall right now that it can
I
go.
can't. I want it close to me. I want it to be close to me. I know. Don't let her know. Yeah. I don't care. I love it. I want it. I just can't help it. Yes, as I often say like this. I know I'm a typical type of criminal. I can't help it. I have some tendencies of some might say big on psychopath. I'm not psychotic. Maybe a little psychopath, but not psychotic. But that's a part. Shout out to my man Jeremy. He asked you this question. He says, "What are your thoughts on the direction of figure? Should it go with the bigger look of Jessica Padilla or stay with the Sid Gillen look? What's your thoughts?"
I mean, that's a tough one right there. I kind of feel like they have a little bit different physiques. Um, and then my mind just instantly goes to Nicole Wilkins. That was kind of why I got into figure. And I mean, if you think of and know who Nicole Wilkins is and think of her physique, I mean, she would be bikini at best, anymore. And I mean, so again, that's just like another example of how the sport has evolved and grown. Um, Nicole Wilkins was what, 5 times Olympian, and then I think Sid kind of bumped up and took her spot. And it kind of changed a little bit again because I think Sid is definitely has a little bit more muscularity and just overall leanness to her. And then shifting into Jessica, I think she has a harder look to her a little bit. She definitely, she kind of almost borders that physique look a little bit. Um, so I don't know. I mean, me personally, I think to keep figure with its um, specific set of expectations and what that looks like. Um, it has criteria. And I think if they stick to the criteria that's stated, I think it aligns more with Sid's physique because they don't want those deep striations. They want that softer look. When you pop into physique, that's when they're looking more, the criteria is more those rigid, deep striations. I think that's really probably the determining factor between the two divisions. Physique, they just or figure, they just really want like that balanced V taper look, soft, and not a ton of striations. So in my brain, that aligns more with Sid's figure than with Jessica's. I kind of think they're going in that direction, just kind of looking at her placings. And there's a couple new faces on the board there. I don't know if you've seen, I'm trying to think of her name. Um,
Lena Wamsteiner or someone
nope.
like
She's
or
from the US. I think she's over from the West Coast.
um
She's
not
blonde. Oh, God, what is her name?
you'll remember what it
Tessa.
is. Who?
Tessa Metz or Tessa
Oh,
Meets.
actually, Tessa Metz is from my area.
Is she?
She's from South Carolina. She's from down.
Okay.
She's
Yeah.
from my neighbor next door. Tessa, yes, but I feel like she might be not that criteria. That's why I went with Rhea. And if I look at Tessa, she's has a lot more size. This is something I'm gonna pull up real quick,
Yep.
and it's
Well, she qualified for Olympia next year. She came in first at what was the one down in Texas? I think it was Texas
it was Florida. It was
or Florida. Oh,
the
the Hurricane Pro. Yep.
Hurricane Pro. And I did this one back, and if you look at this one, this picture I put up, this is
Yep.
Tessa from when she got her first qualification. That was in Charlotte, right here in my
Yep.
North Carolina. This is Ann Gruber at the Triple O. And if you
Okay.
look at them, we'll look at even though their sizes may be a little bit different,
Yeah.
you would think Tessa's figure, or actually Tessa's physique, and you think Ann is women's bodybuilding because
I could see that. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And the thing is that we go back to the judges because that's why Rhea won over between. Well, I think they're not a big fan of Lola because of what she does on the side. So she does as I call them, the Beat the Meat website. That's what it is. OnlyFans, and I know that Jessica did have a stint in women's physique a little bit, but it's just that the criteria for all the divisions need to be separate. If you don't want the women to have too much gyrations, then enforce that. If you don't want the girls to be too big in physique, then tell them either drop down size or go up to women's bodybuilding. We have
Right.
some comments here. Shout out to my guests. I appreciate them coming through. This is from my man, KL the Wonder. Shout out to him. He says, how long you been competing in figure?
Probably 3 or 4 years, 5 years,
Yeah, it's still
somewhere in there.
growing. It's still growing development. We got here one more from a man here. This is from my man. He says, this is from my man. He says, Andrea has to love you back. I don't care if she loves me back. Do not care. I love her. It shouldn't matter if she loves me back or not. I take what I can get. I take a pat on the shoulder. Yeah, I know I'm sipping. This is from my man. Shout out to my man here. It says shout out to the say okay, this is from me. He said shout out to the to Jeremy. Also we have here, and this is from my man here. Shout out to my man Jeremy. Says I remember when they said
Yeah.
that Nicole Wilkins was too muscular back then. She'd be blown away now. Yeah, because if you got to think about it, if you go back to how the vision started and how it's grown over the years, you look at people like Sid Gillen, you look at people like so many other women's in the divisions. People like one lady I follow, Wendell Fatino. I think she might not be that level anymore. If you look at how these women are getting bigger and larger. There's one girl, her name is Christina, and I forget where she's from. She's like in her 20s and her body's just crazy.
Yeah.
She could probably do physique because she's still young. Like a good example is like Paula Ranta, who was figure for a good while. Now she switched up. I actually got to meet her when I was in Tampa.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely this evolving organic thing. And it'll be interesting to see, in the next couple of years how it shakes out. At my gym, I'm actually hosting my first posing clinic on the 31st. And so I've had 15 girls register for it. And I'm in Bay City, Michigan. And that's just, we're a pretty small town in mid-Michigan. And we just don't have a huge population. I think it's like, maybe 40, 50,000 people total. So it's just not a huge area. But I had 15 people register, which I was surprised that I even had that many. And guess how many figure I had?
How many?
0. And I'm figure, and it's my gym.
So let me guess, bikini and fit model, right?
So I have the list right here. I was pulling it up. So as of right now, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bikini out of 15. 1, 2, 3 fit model. And then I have 5 physique. And then I have one unknown. She didn't tell me what she was doing. So
She might be doing wellness, maybe.
I actually didn't offer that one in this posing clinic because I didn't have anybody to teach it.
Oh,
And for one reason, and then the second thing is like I just don't know anybody that does wellness personally in our area. So I just was like, and honestly, I didn't have one person message me and ask me about it. I did have one lady that asked me about it if I needed somebody to come, kind of help out with it. She would be interested, but I didn't have anybody that wanted it. So wellness and figure, I had nothing. It was all physique, fit model, and bikini.
fit model. So excuse me, I gotta again, no offense to him, but that's my personal opinion. We have a shout to my man, Rolando. This is my man Rolando G says, yeah, I'm a fan of Nicole Wilkins. Yeah, her shape is fantastic. Melissa is right. She is the standard. But now Sid's a standard. Like,
Yeah.
is anybody like anybody else you really respect as a competitor outside of our girlfriend? Andrea. Who else do you really admire as competitors?
Who do I admire?
Yeah.
I think we like covered so many great ones. It would be really hard to really think of too many other ones. I know another girl that I liked that disappeared into motherhood she won it 1 or 2 years Figure Olympia. Candace, what was her last name? I'm horrible with names, so that's not a good question for me.
That's all right.
God, I can't think of her name. There
You'll
was
probably remember it. You probably remember it down the road.
Latoya Watts was another good one that was there for a while. There's kind of been a couple good runs, I think, from quite a few people, and I kind of focus on figure. There's a couple girls from Europe that are up and coming that I think look really, really, really good. The one girl, her signature look is she always wears her hair up in a really high ponytail, the blonde.
Yeah, Denise.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah. I think she looks great. I think she has a really good look to her. I don't know, but I mean, again, I really like Tessa. I think she looked like she reminds me of like a bigger version of Nicole Wilkins. I think what did she place last year was she in the Olympia this year or the year before?
No, I think she didn't do the Olympia last time she did Olympia was 2024.
Okay, and I believe she placed like 6th or something.
I'm trying to remember. I could see.
I know she was in the top 10 for sure. And I believe she placed 6th. To be a rookie and just come out of the woodwork and boom, you're in the Olympia and then place even top 10 is crazy. So I think she falls right in that ballpark of that Nicole Wilkins, Sid Gillen, look. I'm kind of rooting for her myself. I don't know. I mean, there's just so many good ones out there.
Well, there's quite a few ladies in this. Like I think I pulled it up, and I think she did correct she took 9th place in 2024. That's
okay.
pretty good.
I knew it was top 10.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's crazy. Like I said, come out of pretty much nowhere and then place in the top 10 in the Olympia. And then I've just kind of followed her since then. And I mean, she looks fantastic. She's put on size. She looks great. And she just has a really healthy look. So I really like her look. Like I said, I like Denise from Germany. I think she looks really good. She's got a very unique, good look to her. And again, I'm just kind of focusing on figure because that's my passion and my division. Another matchup that I always do enjoy is your friend Andrea and Angela. I thought that that was going to be a little bit more of a competition this year, and it turned out really not to be. Um, in women's physique, the big matchup right now is what's her face, Sarah versus
Natalia.
Natalia. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's been really interesting to watch. No, I honestly, I kind of thought this when I think between Andrea and Angela, and then the Natalia and Sarah thing. I think that's something that the IFBB is kind of trying to encourage, is that dynamic of, I think males do a really good job of that, where they don't care. They're just like, I'm here to win, F you, and they can have that banter back and forth, and they're not going to let off the gas for anybody. And women tend to be more, huggy and like cheering each other on. And they don't have that nemesis and that, like that attitude, I guess. So I think they're kind of trying to encourage that a little bit to, just liven things up and get some competition going.
Well, I remember when I watched Olympia, how Mr. Trescott called out Jessica Reyes Padilla, saying about calling being at Olympia like being guest posing. Well, for her, that was just something for her mindset, was her mindset. But I think other people feel like it's slap in the face. You've been the top 3 Olympian for the past umpteen years, and
Right.
then you say a comment, and people was talking about, and funny thing about this, they had a press conference. Why didn't you invite Lola, who's been in the top 3? Understand
Right.
that, but that's why I agree with you that they try to do that. They try to do the figure, because I think they like to see more controversy. They like to see some kind of little WWE thing.
Yeah,
With someone
exactly.
like I know what people tell me that Andrea's very warm and heartwarming. Like this lady I got to meet when I was at Tampa, Ashley Jones, who was also a figure, went to physique, and she was told her, hey, come up to here to us, and she made that move. Now she's number 2 in the world.
Yeah.
Angela, it's going to take a while to bounce back, because one of the other ladies who I saw there, Lavinia Barros, she's a very impressive young lady. She's not even her 30s yet, and it's about
Okay.
she's still growing, processing. Each athlete brings something to the table that
Hmm.
really brings attention to it, be it their physiques, be it their personalities. As I said like this, the men always get the divisions, gonna get the attention. And the thing is, here's the thing like this. All they gotta do is put on a pair of Banana Hamilton boy shorts. You ladies, this is why I go back to the expense of being a competitor, because you have a responsibility, you have a job, you have a gym. And are you sponsored right now?
No, nope.
Yeah, and that's the thing that could help the cost of a competitor. Like I know
Right.
when Andrea posts, she's with Mutation. They
If I
also,
get any down here below in there, anybody want to sponsor, they can pop up right now.
yeah, you send some links to it. But hey, guys, don't be that. Hey, yeah, guys, I got something to
Yeah.
sponsor you with, but not that kind of
No,
sponsorship.
I'm not into the whole OnlyFans thing and all that stuff. So, although I was in the grocery store one day and I had this guy come up to me and ask me if he could take a picture of my feet. And I was like, what? I'm like, no, you cannot. That's weird. And yeah, so the world is weird.
Yeah. This is from a man, shout out to a man, Rolando G says this says, maybe you have a shot with Ashley. Well, she did shout me out on my channel. She is right after the shot my man Alex. He got a video with her. She shot me out. She really appreciates my support. I enjoyed that. Maybe I get an interview down the road. This is also from my man, you know, shout out to my man Jeremy says, what did you think of Missy Trescott calling out Jessica Diaz concerning the editing of her photos at the Olympia press conference? Appreciate or not?
I don't know. I'm trying to, who's the one guy that does that all the time? Goob?
Goob, yeah, Goob.
Because I think Jessica might have I think he's the one that did it, wasn't he? Or he
Yeah,
might,
I think Google was after just about everybody. He's gone just
yeah,
past few
like
Ivy
J-Lo
pros.
even.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen not just Ivy pros, anybody trying to do that stuff, because you
Yeah,
know what, you're trying to false narrative, and thinking about social media, because you have children and they grew up in
exactly.
social media age, and they can be easily oppressed by what they see. Like AI is getting very popular. I don't even, when I see somebody post something AI, I don't even comment on it because that's not
Exactly.
real.
'Cause
You
it's
know,
not real.
yeah, it's just something you just, it's entertaining depending on how it's done with. But if you use
Right.
it, as an image to
It can
stage
be
something, it's not.
misleading.
Yeah, it's misleading. It's not really true, false nature. But going back to, like I said, the cost of being competitive. Like you just did the universe. Why didn't you do, like, just maybe the Team Collegiate or maybe North Americans?
After that, why I chose not to do that.
Hmm.
So I had actually done Sid Gillen's show down in Atlanta, and that was like the last weekend in May. And then I went to Chattanooga and did I can't think, Junior Nats.
I think it's doing that. So is it
Yep.
Junior?
And
Yeah.
then I went into the universe. So it was just a lot, like very intense traveling. And just like, having to fly places and pack food. And um, Andre was actually yelling at me about that the other day because I can't remember which. I don't remember which one it was, or it might have been both of them. I have no idea. I had made sweet potatoes and beef and chicken and all the things, and then I forgot half of it at home, and I'm like door dashing stuff, and they didn't have microwaves, and it was just like a hot mess. So we were just talking about like this next season, and she's like, you're gonna be prepared this time. So I mean, like I said, there's so much that goes into it behind the scenes that a lot of people just don't, like, really realize. And especially when you get to that national level, it's just, there's, for a reason, there's the local, level shows, the national shows, and then you get to the pro stage. And so there's just, different expectations and different things, and you're just at a different place at each one of those. And there's, and again, like with me, I'm married, I have kids, I have a career, and there's just, a lot of things going on. And just relationship wise, after a while, it starts to put pressure on a marriage. It puts pressure on being a mom, and because you're just so tired and you don't want to do anything. And like, even just to get off the couch and go to bed, it's like, I'll just sleep here on the couch because I don't want to move. And I'm still having, like, I can't miss my daughter's dance recital, or I can't miss when she's getting an award at school, or those different, milestone things. It's somebody's birthday. I have to be there for all of those things, because at the end of the day, being a competitor is just, it's just one piece of my identity, and it's definitely not the most important one. So it's just, by the time I was done with Universe, I was just done, and I was just ready to, get back to my life and have my brain back. And I don't know. So in a nutshell, that's, really what it boils down to, is just the different aspects of my life, and, picking different priorities at different times, and being there, as a role model for my daughter, and being a partner to my husband, and all of those aspects to everybody's life is important. And those are all going to be there long after I hang up those heels and I'm done competing. So, just kind of trying to balance all of that stuff out. And just, I know that's like a big buzzword right now, is like, oh, it's all about balance. But when you're a competitor and you're headed towards a national stage, there is no balance. Like, you're either in it or you're not. And so if I was going to spend more money and, travel out to Pittsburgh and keep going, then I need to be, 100% in. And I just mentally, I just wasn't, I was ready to be done for the season. So,
Mm-hmm.
but that's kind of my plan this year is, tentatively, I might pop into North Americans depending on how everything goes over summer. And then depending on if I do that, how it goes, I for sure I'm going to head out to the Olympia to go do the amateur Olympia.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great opportunity.
Yeah, they moved it up though. So usually it's always, mid to late October, and now it's September 26th. I'm like, I told John, I said, I just lost 3 weeks of prep like that.
Well, there's always in November, right by November, there's the Masters USA's.
Yep, in
That
California.
that's a possibility. That give you
Yeah,
more
I
time.
did that one before.
Yeah, that should give you more time to recover. You stack your
Yeah.
chips. We got here some comments here. Shout to my man. Um, Jeremy says, check out Bad Rap. They might be willing to sponsor you. And that's shout to my girl Eunice and Joe Jolene. They
Okay.
run Bad Rap. They do, even they met Andre. It's supposed to be sponsoring the Triple O Dynasty coming up
Okay.
in April. So, she shot
Yeah.
that out. So also my man David, a female body former, also helped to sponsor. Also, this is from Mick. He has a question. Says, you should have asked him why would be want to take a picture of your feet. What if someone asked you if they wanted to take a picture of your flexing bicep with a set? I mean,
Yeah,
again,
exactly. It seems like they would want that.
there you go, Smos. You got a bicep pose. That you axe off to the side. That's what he wanted to do. He wants to see a flex. Okay, brother, you're cool. Put your tissue, your oil, you're good. So, and there is something about this, especially when people think about women with muscle, especially in society idea of it. It's not very feminine. It's not the aesthetic of it is that when you look at women with muscles, like you're trying to be a man, you're trying to be, again, folks, it's a lovely lady. And I don't see anything manly about it. It's like that. That's you. That's a you problem, not a me problem.
Exactly. Yeah.
And as you grow and develop, it's always, again, like I say, there's a flip side. There's guys who are very, anything can be fetishized, be it, feet, be it bodybuilding. It's just because it's something that's different. It's not the norm to the everyday person.
Right. It's a niche,
Mm-hmm, yeah, and you run your own gym. And how long you been doing that? And what got you started becoming, into getting knowing with your father's background? That really get you started to running your gym?
Actually, so we opened the gym in 2017. I think it was 2017 or 2018. Now I can't remember. It might have been 2018 because it was like right before COVID and all of that stuff, and then we had to shut everything down. So I had started doing like some personal training. In my area, I just had a couple ladies that, went to Planet Fitness or went to our local Y, and they wanted me to come and train them. And so I trained at this gym called Old Town Gym. And there was a day where I had went to the Y, then I went to Planet Fitness, and then I went to Old Town Gym all in one day. And I just thought to myself, I'm like, this is really exhausting driving around all of these places. I'm like, what would be nice is if I just had one spot and then everybody came to me. So there was this super old building. Actually, it was owned by Art Door. He's the Golden Gloves guy. I don't know if you're familiar with that boxing era. But he had a gym in the, I think, 60s, 70s out of Bay City, Michigan in this building. And I mean, I think there had been probably 8 different owners of it, but it had been vacant for a couple years. And we walked in there and there was still quite a bit of equipment and whatnot in there. And we just kind of looked at it and I just got this feeling. I was like, all right, I'm like, I'm super scared because I'm like, we'd never owned a business before. Our parents, like, not that they're not supportive, but like we didn't have, any outside support. It was me and him and this old ass building. And so I always call it like the Rocky Balboa gym because it is just brick walls. There's holes in the ceiling, water leaking in. Just, it's that old gym. And which I prefer. So I feel like it just makes you work harder. So we signed the lease and we were like, let's go and try it. And so we actually just moved out of that building March 2025. and opened up a new location and completely renovated the whole thing, and it's really awesome.
Yeah. That's
So
that's
yeah,
so
so I just I mean, and it's like we're just the kind of people fly by the seat of your pants. Like I don't have this, you know, long-term plan or like we're going to do this or we're going to do that. Like I don't have this plan. I actually, it's kind of a weird thing that happened to me a couple years ago. I had, this was even before we had the gym. And I think the only people I've ever told this to is my mom and my husband, because in America, we don't really like, it's kind of frowned upon if you talk about like the supernatural or like miracles or things like that. But I had this dream and I woke up like just straight out of a dead sleep and I heard this word, a key. And instantly it was so loud that it woke me up. But it was at the same time, it was very bizarre because I knew it was Hebrew and I don't speak Hebrew. And I knew that it meant brother, but not like sibling brother. Like it meant like
like
community,
brother. Yeah.
like your community, like your family, like where you stay. And so I, Googled it, looked it up, tried to find out, more like what it meant. So I Google it, find it, and sure enough, that's exactly what it meant. And so like the hair on my arm still stands up whenever I think about it, because it's just one of those things that you never forget, but I never really knew what it meant in context of like my life. And then probably, I don't know, maybe it was a couple weeks ago, I was talking to this lady and she said something about like fitness and my gym and different things was a key to her, her success or her life at that, during this time. And so then it just instantly that word clicked back in my head. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm like, I think that's what I'm building, is I'm building a community of people that we all have, like-minded ideas. We're interested in strength. I think the world's a very tough place right now. And I think the more that you have that community and you build that strength within each other, I always hear about when somebody's getting married, when somebody proposed, when somebody got fired from their job, when somebody gets hired, or, all life's milestones. And it's just kind of, this gym and I'm sure anybody that trains and works out, you make friends at that gym. You have that community in your gym, and everybody kind of starts to, lean on each other, or, Rick gets out of work at 5 o'clock and he's going to be at the gym at 5:30. And, so you kind of start going at the same time. And so it's just, I think bodybuilding and competing and all of that stuff, it's bigger than the individual. It's bigger than the IFBB. It's bigger than the NPC. I think that's what we need to do, is make it more of a community and more accessible to everybody.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Like, like I said, you didn't have a plan. When I started this, I never have a plan. I'm just a dog chasing cars. I don't know where to get one. And then that it's not nothing wrong when something comes to you, especially if God gives you a signal or angel. Like you talk about the Rocky thing. Like I think I don't know if I sent it to you, but I probably sent it to you later. It's like this thing from Rocky 4, Rocky 5, where he's in the gym and he's thinking about it. He sees Mick, and Mick says, "You ever get hurt and you're falling down, and you have a little angel that says, 'Get up, you son of a bitch. Mickey loves you.'" And that's a good thing. We have people that stand by you, people like Andrea and people like Sid, and those people that support your dream and maybe be part of it. Shout out to our man here, DJ Jeff says, "I love your happiness." Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Also says, "Melissa, would you join me when I make my debut coming soon to this channel?" You're gonna make your debut soon. Also, we have here. He says this: we need happiness in life. We
Absolutely,
appreciate
I
that.
agree with that.
And also, he says keep the plans in life. Yeah, that's good that you your husband put something together, and you have support. Because the thing is, when I've talked to ladies, when you get to sport, especially how serious and how much the size and the muscle and all this and the commitment. And all again, people look at bodybuilding as a see because of the use of performance enhancers and use of because it's only part of the process. It's not like you're gonna build muscle because I know people tell me say there's guys who take the same shit but don't follow that same regimen, the same discipline.
Exactly. I think that's the biggest part that people miss. And I think it's an unfortunate part that there's so much fixation on that one aspect to it. I mean, you have like the Trin twins coming up, and that's like glorifying that, like in these younger, I hear that like and see it in the younger generations that come into our gym. And I'm torn on that. I don't know if that's the right kind of attention. It's attention. I guess they say like, what's the saying? Like never waste do you know what that saying is? Never waste oh my gosh, I can't think.
Prep brain?
Yeah, like you just like, if there's something negative to something, like you don't, you twist it around and use it as positive attention somehow. So, I mean, I have a hard time with that. I've lost friends over it because they fixate on that aspect of it. They look at it as cheating. They look at it as, oh, well, if I did that, then of course I could do this, this, and this. And I think that's an unfortunate way to look at things. I look at it as a personal decision. And if, somebody's getting blood work done, they're doing things the right way, they're monitoring their health, they're using reputable sources, they're using a coach, they have a purpose behind it, it's a tool in their toolbox, but they're, eating properly, they're training properly, they're doing all the things, it's going to give somebody an edge, but it's not going to make that person. It's the day in and day out, the regimented eating and the training and the sleep and the recovery. And all of those things are that's 90% of it. And most people don't want to do those things. They want to sleep in. They don't want to get up and do fasted cardio. They, want to go out and enjoy restaurants with their friends and do whatever they want, whenever they want. And then they look at somebody that competes and they're like, oh, well, if I did, performance enhancing drugs, then I could look like that too.
No.
And that's just not the truth. That's not the truth of it.
Mm-hmm.
I work with women all the time, and fitness tends to be a phase. They look at it as either, their kids are getting older, they have more time for themselves, they get a divorce, and they're looking for something to fill their time. They're looking for an escape. They're looking for a way to heal. Then people get comfortable and they fall off the wagon and they're not doing all the things. I've been doing it for close to 13 years and it's just a lifestyle to me. Like in terms of my nutrition, I don't really see that changing a whole lot. And, for the rest of my life, just because I've became so accustomed to it, I feel good. It's intrinsic to me. So I don't need that extrinsic, feedback to stay healthy and to do all the things that make up that 90%. I think it's just a very American, mentality in that, and I think it's very natural because if somebody's doing something that you're not doing, this might be my psychology background coming out in me a little bit, but, people always want to do what's satisfying to them. They don't want to do things that they don't enjoy or they don't like doing or that, is uncomfortable.
Best way I say it like this, especially when you have younger people, they want everything quick, fast, and a hurry.
Yes.
Everybody wants a simple answer to something, but it's never going to be simple.
No.
Like with myself, because I was taking my mom for a long time before she passed. And before she passed, I was almost 500 pounds. Okay. Then I decided to take better care of myself. Right now, I'm sitting at 416. I could do a little better, but I got two bad knees like Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's hard. And one thing
together.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't drink beer like that, but I, but, but it's hard to have the discipline can change with the wind. And I say like this,
Hmm.
but but you have to have no, I'm wrong. Motivation can change with the wind,
Yes.
but you got to have that discipline to get up, to do the routine, to eat the same thing every day, to maintain that. And the people who say like you're cheating, do you say that to baseball players that use steroids or other athletes that use steroids? They use it because it helps them in recovery. It doesn't make you hit the ball harder or go faster. It just helps you recover. But the
Yeah.
problem is, it's always going to be, and there's other stuff like peptides, stuff like that. There's
Right.
so many different things you can use. We have here a comment from a man, DJ Jeff. He says, I 100% agree with Melissa. Also, he says this. He says, Melissa, you are on Instagram, not Twitter. Play I love you possibly that I be making my debut on this channel very soon in 2026. And I would love your help to talk about positivity in life. Yeah, he says this. He also says, George, can you read this comment? I'm also was wondering what is her advice for doing bodybuilding for people with a disability.
So actually, that's really a funny question. So when I taught for 12 years, I worked in special education. And then when I opened up the gym, I actually coached Special Olympics, a powerlifting team. And we went to a local college and coached them through their first powerlifting meet. So, I mean, I think, disability is a pretty broad term. There can be, so many individualized circumstances involved in that. But I mean, I would say reach out to a Special Olympics coordinator, like in whatever area you're in, and see if they have powerlifting or weightlifting or, some kind of athletic. They have pretty much every sport anymore. And, start that way and have access to people that can teach you about good form and set up, a training schedule and coach you, into possibly a competition of that sorts.
Yeah, and you're a coach yourself, and you have a coach. Who's your coach right now? Because I know you were working with Shelby. You've been working
Yep.
with John. Who's your main coach?
Yeah, John.
Oh, John. Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
yeah. He was the Mickey to Andrea's Rocky. But she's now
Yes.
with the producer. He's been doing
Yeah.
pretty good. I know he
Yeah.
works with Abby. He works with also Ashley. He got a
Yep.
stable. I mean, it won't be long before you got you in the corner. That's the thing about this sport. You got to find something that really gets you going. Like I've talked to quite a few ladies like who got into bodybuilding because of either dealing with stuff in their past or finding something outlet, especially they were very athletic and they found it because it was something to give them that athletic purpose. I knew some ladies where I interviewed ladies just about a few days ago where she got into because of dealing with bad relationships, a bad marriage, and
Yep.
like that, and also like people like myself who've been bit or oversized, and it was just something to help them in their process. And you say you had psychological studies.
So when I have my master's degree in education and my minor was psychology.
Mm, yeah. You ever thought about becoming like, especially with bodybuilding, this sport can really, I often say like this, this sport can be mentally, physically, emotionally, and again, back to financially draining. Have you ever thought about maybe being like a therapist for, helping out those people dealing with this because you have great attitude?
Oh, possibly anything's possible. Um, you mean like kind of like a life coach type person or something?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Oh, maybe. I don't have like any credentials like to be like a certified counselor or anything like that. But just like through our gym and like I said, I work with a lot of women, like personal training aspect. And I think there's a lot of spillover into exactly what you just said, because we kind of talk our way through, workouts and you just get to, you make new friends and you get to hear so much about people's lives and things they're celebrating, things they're sad about. I know, not that I worked personally with them, but just because I get to know everybody in the gym, um, quite a few times very common thing is, people that are overcoming alcohol addiction or drug addictions or things like that, and they use the gym as a replacement behavior for those things. And I think it's probably one of the most successful things that help contribute to somebody's sobriety.
Yeah, especially if I've known people who have been alcoholics, drugs.
Mhm.
Sometimes it has took the toll and broke them, but then every now and then, some people realize, you know what, I found something else that probably helps me. Like when the pandemic hit, like we talked about earlier, how a lot of people were like they didn't have that gym anymore. Some people were working out at home, but the
Yeah.
gym was a place where we get with other people who have the common interest,
Mhm.
camaraderie, train together. Some people see it as their church, their home away from home.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. We have your comment from a man, DJ Jeff. He says, I have, but they don't have anybody cooler than you. Oh, that's great. Shout out to our man, Josh Simpkins coming through. He says, what's good, George and Melissa and Empire Nation? Thank you, brother, for coming through. Yeah, so this is a question I ask you, ladies, especially, I'm a big man and I like food, and I know a lot of bodybuilders are foodies. So tell me, Melissa, as I ask you,
George, you're going to have to tell me what my next cheat meal should be.
that's up to you because I never know. But what was that after, especially you and Abby and Ashley? What was that thing y'all did afterwards? That thing that was calling your name, that was calling you, especially that long prep,
Like
yeah,
what we went and did afterwards, like to
yeah,
celebrate.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to remember. I we did a couple shows together, so I can't remember if I'm getting them mixed up or not, but I'm pretty sure we sat out. They had a fire outside the hotel room, like those little, fire pit things. John fell asleep, and Ashley and I had a glass of wine, nachos, and chicken wings.
I know Ashley loves wine.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the thing is that's thing to enjoy that every now and then. It's not, every now and then. But like I
Oh,
said,
absolutely.
yeah, because food is part of the growth purpose of a
Mhm.
bodybuilder. It's about eating clean, eating healthy, not too many fats, not too much sweets. You want a happy medium, and also, it's good to have a refeed,
Oh,
or some say cheat
absolutely.
meal because you just can't. The body can't deny itself those little pleasures in life. Especially you got kids, and I know the
Exactly.
kids they eat pizza and then you got
Right.
TV, and
Oh, I got it all.
yeah, and then some days you look at them and say, I just want to knock you out and take your pizza.
Uh-huh.
You gotta be cool. You gotta be cool.
Exactly. Yep. And I think it's very impressionable on kids. Like, I mean, our kids, people will often ask me that. Like they think if they open my pantry, like there's gonna be no cookies, no chips, and it's gonna be like rows of canned green beans and asparagus and chicken, and that's it. But I mean, our pantry looks just like any other American family's pantry. I mean, I do limit, cookies and ice cream and chips and like the processed stuff a little bit. Um, but I mean, our kids, I think somebody door dashed pizza today. So I mean, they eat whatever they want, whenever they want. I'm not a big fan of like deprivation or anything. Even with my daughter, like I think that generation, like my mom's generation, it was a very diet culture. Um, and I never even owned a scale until I started competing. My initial coach was like, well, I need to know how much you weigh. And I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know. And so I went and bought a scale because it just was not anything. My mom always talked about dieting and like, I need to lose weight. I need to lose weight. And it always kind of annoyed me a little bit. So I just kind of went the opposite direction. And so now but then, being in bodybuilding, obviously nutrition is, 100% what you have to focus on. And so I just try to rephrase things for her. So like if she'll say, oh, my mom can't have that cookie or my mom can't have that. And I always just reshape it. And I always tell her like, I could have that if I wanted to, but I'm choosing not to, because I'm doing this, this, and this, and it doesn't fit into my goals right now. but I will, another time. So I don't want her to get into this. I don't want her to have that diet culture mindset, where, she is always thinking about food or having to lose weight, or that, having a poor body image, which, is pretty, probably high percentage for a lot of females.
Especially in bodybuilding, because body dysmorphia,
Mm-hmm.
because you look at your body a different way than most everyday person. You
100%.
you go like, especially when you're getting ready for a show, you get this shredded, ripped condition. But then you get to the off season when you're a little softer, more,
Like right
you know,
now.
yeah, But like the thing is, that's part of the process,
Yeah.
But the thing, some people feel like you walk around look like you are come off of a Conan movie.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just that's for that time. And again, is I say this, when we go to the shows and we see these bodies up there on stage, these men and women, you're shredded, y'all buff, y'all oiled up and tan, but we don't realize what it took you to get there. The
Exactly.
dehydration, the
Mhm.
days where you feel like you want to eat a whole food truck, the days where you're tired, like you said, you want to take a break after your last couple of shows because you didn't want to hurt your family time. You gotta value your own peace as much as anything,
Yeah.
and also respect the process. Because again, I've told this, trust the process, but here's the thing: understand the process before you fully trust it. You don't just throw yourself to something you don't know anything about it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I think it's really important to, um, have a trainer, have a coach, have an extra set of eyes on you. Just because, like you said, you have that body dysmorphia. And like, I always felt like, even not so much now, like I'm kind of becoming more aware of my muscularity. But like even last season, I was really, really shocked. It was the first time that, walk in my off season, even walking into a grocery store or something, people would be like, "Oh my gosh, your arms are great." And, what kind of workout? I always get this. Do you do CrossFit? Like so often. Um, so, I mean, in the past, I'd always thought to myself, I'm like, I don't even look like I work out. And that's not reality. I do. But you don't see that in yourself. And even sometimes when I get super, super lean, I think like, oh my gosh, I'm like way too big. I need to get leaner. I need to get leaner. I need to get leaner. And, I just actually had my body fat tested like a month ago. And I think I was like at 12% or something in the DEXA scan. And I was just like, I cannot believe I'm walking around at, 12, 14% body fat in my off season. So it's just, the more muscle you have, the easier it becomes to maintain, I think, too. Um, but it's that process though. It's years and years and years of, putting on lean muscle, dieting off the fat, putting on lean muscle, dieting off the fat, to get to that point where your metabolism, like my metabolism, is as high as it can go on the chart. I wake up a lot of times at 3 o'clock in the morning hungry. So it's, and I'm like deep in my off season. I start dieting back down March 1st. So I'm in a really good spot, but I worked at this for like 13 years very consistently to get to this point too.
That's important, that the consistency, the discipline, the determination, you know, persistence, because that's what makes a great athlete. All athletes
Mhm.
have that. The everyday person, like pretty much the 98% of us don't have the mentality because we can be easy distracted by something. We can,
Mhm.
like one day you might be saying, you start feeling that hunger and stomach, you say, you know what, there's a leftover casserole in the refrigerator. I might eat that. Sometimes you down there, you just have to say, what's important for me?
Yeah.
As do I want to get that pro card or want to eat that last slice of cake?
Right,
That's
exactly.
that's the difference you got to make an exchange for. It's a
Well,
sim-
and I think too, I think there's another piece to it too. I had this client that, for years she had struggled with her weight, and, and she's had a lot of different very high stress situations, and I would even kind of describe it leaning on maybe a little bit of like traumatic. She lost her mom, lost her brother. So just, so her dad was really sick, and she had lost, got into a weight where she was so happy. She's like, I haven't weighed this much since I was in high school. And thank you, thank you, thank you for all your help. And she comes in and she's crying, and she's like, my dad's sick. She's like, and I got in a fight with my husband, and I ate an entire movie theater size box of gobstoppers.
I can understand. I can feel you because, like I said, when I take my mom, food is seen as a comfort. I honestly, I
Mhm.
also was it within my brother James was the one who really got me to bodybuilding. He used to be the muscle mags and lifting weights. With
Yeah.
me, he was kind of the center of our family. I wasn't the center. He was kind of the man of the family because my dad was in and out of our
Mhm.
lives. And my sister Mary, she was my older sister, but she was a baby girl. And and my mom taking care of her, that can be stressful. You take care of somebody,
Exactly.
elderly parent, and when you need find something, food is a comfort. It can be a crutch, and when the days you get up and you're stressed, you just. And then also, I used to work quite a few jobs when I was a younger man. I mean, I used to work a couple of jobs here, there. I used to work at a gas station, work at
Yeah.
textiles. I worked in a gentleman's club. You know, used to get off at you get off at night and you go to the Waffle House because the only place open at that time. You're hungry or
Right,
something like
right.
that, and
The greasy
it's
spoon.
yeah. It's about making right decisions, but also you cannot deny yourself the joy of something nice and salty or greasy
Oh,
or sugary.
absolutely.
It's
I
just
think that I try to say, like, I don't do cheat meals because I'm not cheating on anything. I do treat meals, and I try to plan that stuff like around somebody's birthday, my kid's birthday, a wedding. There's always something going on that's good. And so I try to associate those treat meals with those special occasions. To go back to my one client, I this is kind of how I coached her through that. Is I just, I mean, we've been working together for like 9 years. And I just, she's like, how can I make it so that I don't do that? She's like, I don't want to cave. I don't want to respond that way when I get upset. And I just remember having a conversation with her, and I was like, there's never going to be a time in your life where you don't have stress, you don't have a problem, where you don't have some kind of conflict. Um, it's just impossible. Like, we're just surrounded by employment conflict or stress. Anybody that's been married for any amount of time knows that a marriage is probably the hardest job you'll ever have. And when you're, living close quarters with a lot of people, there's always going to be conflict. And so you're just always going to have some kind of stress, whether it's, interpersonal with relationships, whether it's at your job, whether it's a death in the family, or, I mean, there's just change in jobs, getting fired. I've gotten fired. I didn't really get fired, but they tried. And I mean, so there's just, everybody's always got something. And you just have to find that positive, healthy outlet. And I feel like and I learned this myself through my own experiences, that when I first started competing, and then I would get done off the stage, and it's, like you said, you're going after the chicken wings and the nachos and the wine and all the things. And I had a hard time reeling that back in. And what I found is that if I, overindulged, then I felt like every time I'm giving that power to somebody else, or I'm giving my power to that conflict. And I don't want to do that. I want to be in control of my emotions and how I respond to whatever stimulus is, good, bad, that's out there. And so I think that's how I really um, mastered that level of discipline. Is it's all mental, and just being able to have that reality that we're never going to live in a perfect environment where we're free of, sadness, where we're free of you know, being angry about things. And you know, I mean, we're humans, so we'll never be free of that. And you just have to find different coping skills and different ways to heal, and um, you know, find ways to celebrate, obviously with treats and, you know, different foods and things like that. But just, you know, don't give your power away.
Yeah, you got to find your own peace,
Mhm.
especially in the sport. Again, go back to the cost, the expense, the travel. You're still in the NPC. You got to climb up. Everything that goes to with this, like from your posing suits to
Oh gosh.
to your hair, your makeup.
Uh-huh. Thousands.
Then yeah,
That
then
was those dollar bills just go like this.
you don't get nothing back in return other than maybe you get a pro card if
Nothing.
you're lucky.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, and then if you're lucky few who get sponsorship, and that
Right.
covers the cost. I this is why I say, like, is it worth it to be in the gym all day? Sometimes to be going through the stress of your body and your mind, and and also how it affects your family. You feel
Yeah.
like, as a competitor, is it really worth it, or is it you feel like, what,
Do you
I'm
wanna
just
know how
riding
many
along?
times I've asked myself that question?
How many times?
I don't even every prep. But you know, I think like everybody's experience or their why is different. For me, I spend a lot of time reading. I spend a lot of time praying, and you know, when you're self-denying yourself things, like, because I don't have to do this. You know, I could go on tomorrow's Friday, I could have fish Friday and beer if I wanted to. Um, so it's, you know, it's when you're denying yourself things because you have the choice to do that. Nobody's making you do it. I think you just kind of um, appreciate life's comforts a little bit more by denying all, you know, the luxuries that you have access to. I mean, this is the way I look at it. Um, you know, then it just puts me in a different mindset where I can focus on spirituality. It helps me drown out all the noise to really have time in my own head and um, read and just really have a lot of introspection, I guess. And so I really try to use that time productively. And for me, when I'm, you know, not going to restaurants, I'm not going to parties, I'm not, you know, getting sidetracked with all the fun and the comfort of life, and I can really just hole up and really have some time to go down those rabbit holes. Um, I've come out stronger every single time, and kind of things that maybe I had were weaknesses before a prep, like I just get stronger every single time mentally. Um, you know, I don't know. So I think it's, you know, it might be different for everybody, you know, how they deal with prep or you know, why they do it, what they get out of it. Um, for me, I'm still growing mentally, and I have positive results every single time. Um, so as long as it's still satisfying to me and I'm still getting stronger out of it, I will keep competing. But if it becomes to where I'm not getting that piece out of it, and that time, then that's when I will know that I'm done.
Yeah, that's the thing is, that's when you realize, what, I've gone as far as I can go. And
Hmm.
if I would become a pro, I enjoyed the ride. I enjoyed the
Oh,
experience.
absolutely. Yeah.
I got to learn something about myself. Some
Hmm.
people take something out of it. I know, like we talk about how some ladies will get their pro card and don't do anything because, hey, it's expensive to become pro. Now you have to start from the bottom. But
Right.
then others, you know what? It's about doing this as a passion. It's a passion for a lot of people. It's a sport that really got some people out of maybe dealing with depression or dealing with some stuff in
Hmm.
their life, or just, again, just finding something that gives them a purpose. Like me doing this content, this gives me a purpose because
Yeah.
after my mom passed away, What's else for me? Everybody else I know, my brothers and sisters are grown and they got kids, and the kids got kids.
Right, right.
I mean, and for me, talking to women like you and Ashley and Abby, one of these days, my dream is to talk to Andrea. I'm just gonna, I put that, I put that, I'm making one of the spirit things that she talked about one time, and me put it out there, say, get to talk to Andrea, just put it in big words, but but doing this content and really understanding what aspires anybody to get to the sport, the risk is this, there's little risk. There's a lot more risk than reward out of it, and to understand that, really, I gotta respect you, ladies. And again, going back to the other half of me, which is the demented perv, something about y'all ladies. It's just your bodies are so beautiful, amazing. I know you go to a show, you're sitting there, you're hugging your kids, they're there clapping and say, "Yeah, that's my baby." And some guy says, "Yeah, who's that blonde with the long legs? Yeah, yeah, I want to talk to her. That's my wife, man." It's good to understand that where you're coming from is something that's genuine, and that's something my man DJ Jeff says is positive, because most definitely we need positive people like yourself who have good spirits, understand, and also are supportive. And I think, honestly, if you keep working in it, you take your time, I would say you're most definitely on that way of getting that pro card.
Thanks. That's the
Well,
plan for 2026.
well, as a quote from my favorite hero, the Dark Knight himself, Batman, you never have to. That's why. And by the time I say thank you, say you never have to, because this is what I said again. This gives me purpose. So we're not going to hold Melissa too much longer. And this is going to ask you, what would you want for yourself out of bodybuilding towards your future?
Well, obviously, I aspire to get my pro card if that's in the cards for me. Um, Other than that, like I had kind of mentioned, is just every prep. I feel like I grow spiritually through that self denial process, and just having time to focus and drown out, all the noise in the world. So just like that spiritual growth, and just creating more a different level of introspect for myself.
That's really good. I respect that. You know, I think, like I said, then it's not a race; it's a marathon.
Hmm.
And again, it takes time. And you work with John; he's done pretty good. And you look what he's done with Andrea. And look at Abby, and look at also Ashley and other competitors. I think it's the right time, the right show. You get there,
Yeah.
and just take inspect. And, I'm glad that people like your husband is supporting you, your kids supporting you. As we talked about earlier, how some people, friends have been lost of change because they don't understand. But it's good that you have those people who still stand by you and support you in your goal in whatever you want to do in the sport. I mean, that's the thing. It's a goal for you. It may not be for them, but it's a goal for you.
Exactly. Yep.
So, and anyway, folks, if you're interested in reaching out to Melissa, her links in the description of this live, guys. And I know you guys out there, guys. She got a husband, she got kids. Be respectful. Like if you have somebody who generally have an interest in supporting, in sport of bodybuilding, any competitor, be it man or woman, here, this is what you should do. This is like, Mrs. Freeman, we are very inspired by your plan and your interest as a bodybuilder and also your business sense. We work for a company that likes to help and also advance athletes in the sport of bodybuilding. So if our product is something that you think you can agree with and helps in your process, we'd like to help you. Maybe in the future you'd be a bad ambassador for us and we'd be an ambassador for you. So ma'am, let us know if there's anything from us you need, and we'll let you know what we need from you.
I love the script.
Yeah, I've been working on that for a long time. Because that's what I wish I can do. That's what I wish I can do. I see some people who have great potential, but they just don't. They just needs that little hump, and it is again goes back to money, money, dollar, dollar bill, y'all. But if
Exactly.
there are people out there who are genuinely interested, want to support her, and especially if you heard like she just did a little newscast. Hey, that's for your local news. You did that for us?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's something you should get a copy and post on your IG and your social media, because that's what's most definitely is we need more of these competitors put themselves out there. That's I think somebody like I reach out to ladies and say I don't want to do an interview because I don't know. Yeah. Here's the thing: is this is about you, and you have a story that maybe not the same as everybody else. You have something to share. You never know. You might inspire somebody someday. That's why I do these interviews, because there might be somebody out here. Maybe they might, like guys who are fans who might get. Some of these guys don't even get to talk to female bodybuilders, and this is the opportunity. That's why I do lives, because they want to interchange, react, get their, just let you know that they support you. And again, I gotta be careful of these guys out here who are fans who are a little bit extreme. I said this. They want. Hey guys, you want get more with Silk Glove than Iron Fist. I know what you're doing that Iron Fist, but really respect your passion, as you are not just your mother, your wife, you're a woman, you're a business person, you're a positive person in your community. And that's what we want to see for bodybuilding. Really, to people start looking in the eye of it like these big, buff, muscular people, like like Arnold and Arnold. I take stand, I get to the chopper. No, you
The
are
old Hans and Franz.
Hans Franz. We want to pump. You're off. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That's a classic. But that's the thing is, not everybody's like that. Everybody found this sport for a reason. It gives them a purpose or give them to fulfill a passion. And that's the thing that's the most important. If it makes you feel good, then here's like this. If people don't like you, I say, quote my man Bertie Mac, fuck them. Excuse my language, man. I'm just gonna do it straight out.
I like it.
Yeah. So we're not gonna hold her much longer. I know she's a busy lady. She got kids, got a man, got Jai, and yeah. So
yep.
Yeah.
So 2 of the day starts. We got volleyball coming up.
Ooh, is she a good player?
She actually is. She just tried out for a travel volleyball team, and she made it. And she, like I said, she's a competitive gymnast. So on Saturday we have 8:30 a.m. volleyball, and then 1:45 check-in for gymnastics. So
yeah, keep it busy. Keep it busy. That's the thing.
Yes.
Children need something to keep focused. Maybe make them more, because like I said again, kids nowadays want everything quick, fast, in a hurry.
Mhm.
And I played sports when I was younger too. But then you get in the real world, you get a job, you can't, do like you do. You end up like this. You'd be an old man. You look like this ain't the baby. But
And you can do like the softball leagues, the beer leagues.
like I said, be the beer bear leagues. I never drunk beer, man. I never drunk beer in my life. Well, I've sipped when I was younger. My like I said, it was like my older brother and sister would give me a little sip every now and then, but my mom didn't like that. But anyway, man, we do appreciate your time. You have anybody you want to shout out before we let you go?
I will shout out to Ashley, Abby, Andrea, my family, and you. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for shouting me out. And also, I'd like to say, I want to say shout out to my girlfriend, Andrea Shaw. I know she does.
Did you? Okay, you went on my Instagram page. Did you ever see the mural of her that I had painted in my gym?
I think I didn't really go as far because how far as that is. I mean, I'll look at it.
I feel like I post quite a few pictures. So it should be. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
I think it might be. Cause I know we through your social media, but there's so much. I said didn't want to spend too much time on it.
Yeah. You'll have to. If you go down like 10 rows, there's one of me doing upright rows right in front of her.
Let's see. I see one with you and Sid together with her.
Can you see it?
Yeah, and I see the one with you and Sid, you and Sid at the Peach Classic. I see that one.
Oh, you'll have to scroll down. I have a mural of her painted in my gym.
This must be really good. Let me see. We don't want to be speaking too much long on this but I'll probably check it out later.
Yeah,
because I don't want to speak too much long on this.
It turned out really,
you got
really well.
Yeah, I would check it out because I'm a fan of this woman. I've been following bodybuilding for a long time, and she came along at a time when bodybuilding was like, especially for the women, was a struggle. And every time when I talk about, and not just her, but another person that came along, especially at a time when it need a little help, and I always want to shout him out anytime. When I mentioned him, the man who came along and saved women's bodybuilding when it needed was one Mr. Jake Wood. Yo, Jake! Jake! I want that money. I want that gun. He was the man, came along, brought it back, created the Rising Phoenix, brought it back to the Olympia. You know, I want to give him. I actually saw him once when I went to my first Spider-Man show. I was in Savannah. Savannah also. That's where I saw Andrea doing guest posing that year. It was in 2022,
Okay.
and she looked good. My friend, his name is Keith. He said because his wife was working with John, Tina, and he said, George, when Andrea's on, she's on. She was just maybe 3 weeks from doing the Rising that year,
Yeah.
and she looked great. I mean, she was her and Mona Person on stage together. Mona could have done that show that year because she looked like she was shredded. She could have done that show, but they looked great. And she, even though she wasn't as conditioned she is usually for the shows, but she was just beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to think I'm weird or anything. I think yeah.
You're her number one fan.
I'm number one. Oh yeah, another guy's number one fan. He's also your number one fan too. Like he has to say something. Says, "Oh yeah, Melissa, I want to tell you something. You are beautiful."
The alter ego comes out.
Yeah, he does. He completes me. So, we do appreciate your time taking out here to
Absolutely.
talk with it. Not a problem, ma'am. Like folks, if you want to follow her, or if you're somewhere in her area, like she said, she has what's the posing clinic again?
It's at Iron Gorilla Gym.
And
it's
when
on
is that?
January 31st.
January 31st. So you can send me a link and I'll post it on my social media.
Okay.
For anybody who's interested and want to check it out, because especially in the area, I know quite a few bodybuilders who are in the Michigan area because, and I think they're supposed to be having the Detroit Pro again next year.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe they add figure to it. I mean, most definitely, because,
for sure,
there's quite a few competitors in that area in Detroit, in between Detroit and you got Minnesota and stuff like that, be a great place for them. So, folks, again, I appreciate the lovely Mrs. Melissa Freeman for coming through. I want to shout out to my guests that were here. Shout out to my man DJ Jeff, my man Josh Simpkins, my brothers KLA the Wanderer, Jeremy, a female bodybuilding channel. Check him out. He just did an interview today with a lovely lady. Also yesterday. Also, my man Rolando G. Anyone who watched this video, comment, subscribe, follow, support us. Support these men and women in the sport of bodybuilding. And again, guys, no weird stuff. Be nice, be respectful. This is a nice lady to talk out with me. So, folks, you're welcome. So, folks, it's your man always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Don't like, subscribe. Good night, good luck, God bless, and see you around.